Initiative? In this economy? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today, well, nobody asked me to play this one. I'm going to be real with you here for a second. I have spent the last 3 days buried in Starfinder 2nd Edition content, as I was given early release access to all of the materials by my friends at Paizo. So I have a bunch of upcoming videos for that system, and I have about 2 hours before dinner to get a league recorded before I leave for the weekend for a trip. So I decided that I was going to try to jam an initiative league real quick and keep the old content machine flowing. Now, this was from a recent Legacy challenge, and the list specifically intrigued me. As a general concept, the initiative has gotten worse and worse in Legacy over the last couple of years. Part of that was White Plume Adventurer rightfully getting banned. And part of that is that blue decks are just playing more and more creatures now, and flash creatures like Orcish Bowmasters mean that holding down the initiative has gotten a little bit harder. But this one intrigued me as it is playing main deck Endurance as a way to attack the graveyard focused metagame. And it has a lot of fast mana, and I mean a lot. You have Petals and both Spirit Guides, and then you also have Once Upon a Time to find them. So in terms of mana sources here, we are at 28, which is around the 50% that you would expect from one of these decks, and then the Once Upon a Time that are also probably finding mana. Our goal here is to run away with the game with an initiative creature, or otherwise lock down the game with something like Magus of the Moon or Archon of Emeria. Cavernous Souls can be a little awkward in this deck, as there are some cards with pretty harsh mana requirements within the deck. We have green, we have white, but these cards we are preferably looking to pitch cast. Now, one of the things that has kind of conceptually caught my eye in looking at this list is that we are trying to play red, white, and green cards that are pitch cards simultaneously in the same deck. And we don't have any multicolored cards which serve double duty towards those purposes. So that is interesting to me. But the pitch cards can be very, very good with Broadside. So we can do something like attack with Broadside, get in for 2 damage, Solitude, remove our opponent's best card, and then throw the Solitude for 7 points of life, probably more than negating the life gain that our opponent got from the Solitude in the first place. The most exciting thing in the sideboard here is probably 4 copies of Clarion Conqueror. This shuts down activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers. So, the Clues, no good. The Tamios, no good. One Ring, no good. Grim Monolith, sorry, you don't get that either. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the video here. Folks, should you need any Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. You're going to get fast, free shipping. And if their normal fast shipping isn't good enough, you can even expedite that shipping. They've got something crazy like 100,000 unique cards on their website. And if you want some really cool, high-end, individually scanned stuff, they've got that for you too. With that being said, let's battle. So this is, statistically speaking, probably a turn 2 initiative creature that is uncounterable. My Once Upon a Time probably gets me one of the 8 Spirit Guide effects, or I draw a Lotus Petal to get Caves of Chaos Adventurer on turn 2. The problem is that I don't have anything to pitch cast to Solitude, but I do just get probably turn 2 and turn 3 Caves of Chaos Adventurer. This is a little clunky. I think I'm going to try it. Not oops all spells. League starting off great. I am going to cast this in response. Did not hit one of these Spirit Guide effects, which makes the hand slightly more awkward. I think I'm going to go with Broadside here. I don't yet know. Okay, cool. I don't yet know whether my opponent is playing fair or unfair, so I don't know how good Archon is in a vacuum. I probably have to slow down a turn here. I don't think I can just try to will a Spirit Guide or Lotus Petal to the top of my deck here. I was comfortable with 6 looks at one of those effects in keeping the opening hand. That is a Baleful Strix. I don't see too many of those around anymore. This means that the initiative will be contested unless I Solitude that Baleful Strix. Yet. There's the Spirit Guide. I think I would like to play multiple initiative creatures in a row. Yep. All of these are humans. I will choose human. You've got it. I'll go ahead and take one here. There is a Tamiyo. I am probably going to Solitude that. I'm going to do that now before my opponent gets Force of Will to potentially protect this. I don't want my opponent getting all of those clues. So despite the fact that Baleful Strix can take the initiative and Tamiyo can't, Tamiyo is a major pain in the butt. Undermountain Adventurer is not doing much right now. I don't think I get to wait any longer. I think I'm going to try to slam an initiative creature this turn and next turn. I will pick up my basic Forest for Undermountain Adventurer, and my opponent is going to take the initiative, which means that they are going to be able to get probably a basic Swamp out of their deck. Indeed. And I get Thought Seized, which is fine. I still have 2 initiative cards here. I lose my other caves. It is a new Baleful Strix, which is honestly pretty annoying. I think we're going in, though. I trample. Send it. Trigger. Ancient Tomb is not what I'm looking for here. I will deal 4 damage to my opponent. I will take the initiative. I don't want to put +1/+1 counters on Baleful Strix here, so I will go to Lost Well. Try 2. I do not want Once Upon a Time. I am fine drawing Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I need my green mana here. We will do the Undermountain Adventurer, which hopefully it resolves. It does not resolve. Force of Will is great there. That's okay. I get to play Caves of Chaos Adventurer next turn. There will still be another Baleful Strix to deal with. One problem at a time. Opponent is forging. I don't want to see something like a Goyf come down. Under's fine. And that was a very fast shuffle. Alright, Ancient Tomb. Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I will take the initiative. I'm going to stash here. My opponent is going to attack anyway, so I don't think there's much of a point of goading that creature. And I want to work towards the extra body of Catacombs. Am I eating a removal spell? I'm eating an Orcish Bowmasters. 14. This is kind of exactly what I was talking about with the flash bodies being really good. So now my opponent... Okay, they're not going to do that. They could have attacked with Bowmasters and Orc Army Token to hit me for 1, and then kept Baleful Strix to trade with Caves of Chaos Adventurer when I attacked. Said they are trapping me, and my life total is in dire danger. I am an Ancient Tomb deck here. That doesn't help. Yes. How good of a play this is, and how I play this is very dependent on what my opponent does. Like, for example, if they have another Bowmaster, I can get pinged to... I can take 2 from Ancient Tomb, going to 4, get pinged down to 3, and die to Baleful Strix. I can use the treasure to not pay life, but then I can't throw that at, like, Bowmaster or Orc Army Token. I think I am going to tap this still. Hitting the treasure, or using the treasure to throw at Bowmasters so that this can't be blocked, is 7 damage this turn. I can force both of these to block so that this has to die. I can hit for 5 plus 2, 7 that way as well. Wow, this decision is very hard. I think I am into it like this. And we'll see if I lose out on one of these when I go to combat. Is Petty Theft bouncing it back to my hand? Okay. It might end up coming right back down. There's an Archon of Emeria. I believe that I am deterministically dead. My opponent doesn't block. I take the initiative. I get 1 blocker. I needed to hit a land here to replay Broadside to that. So not using the treasure has me dead there. Yep. There was another Bowmasters too. Alright. I think if my opponent has both Petty Theft and Bowmasters, they've got me no matter what, because I can't kill that turn, and I probably don't end up in a situation where I end up killing the Baleful Strix one way or another. GG, that was tight. So I conceptually would like some things to kill my opponent's copies of Baleful Strix and Orcish Bowmasters to get my creatures through. And I know that my opponent has Tamiyo. The Clarion Conqueror is, like, fine. It might be correct to become less white here. Do, like, Fury, Pyrokinesis in 4 Solitudes. Turn Archons into Clarion Conquerors. Be unimpressed with Magus of the Moon, but keep it as a red card in respect of Fury and Pyrokinesis. Something like this seems fine. This is fine. This is 5 looks at a turn 1 uncounterable initiative creature. I am good with spinning the wheels on that. So which one do I want? Probably Caves. Probably Caves. So let's go Petal. Petal. Human. Red. Yeah. I'm thinking about whether or not I'm going to keep an extra Spirit Guide around. I think I am going to, like, Petal is more colors, but Spirit Guide is castable as a raw body. I would have the most trouble casting a green card like a Spirit Guide right now, but I think I'm just going to take Mountain, even though I have the Simian Spirit Guide, because this potentially casts that, which I currently otherwise can't do with my mana. Flooded Strand. What you gonna do with it? Hydroblast. Unfortunate for me. So I will go down the Lost Well. Endurance I don't want. Undermountain Adventurer I will take. I'm gonna go ahead and just do Witch Enchanter as a tapped land here. And then next turn, assuming I don't get Wastelanded, I get Uncounterable Undermountain Adventurer. And I did not get Wastelanded. Very nice. So I will go do Stash now. Oh, nice, 2 of them. So 1, 2, green. Oh, you are a giant warrior. You are not uncounterable. And that means I am using Lotus Petal. Opponent is fetching. All 3 of these weren't warriors, were they? I'll feel dumb if that is the case. Human warrior. Yeah, human barbarian. That is Orcish Bowmasters in response, which seems objectively incorrect to me, unless this is also getting countered. I will pay. So now opponent did not get to kill my black skeleton with the Orcish Bowmasters trigger, which is why I said that their play was just objectively incorrect there. They did not need to do that before my spell resolved, and got hyper punished because they did. And I think if Throne of the Dead 3 goes off on my next turn, it is very hard for me to lose this game. What you got? That's a Ponder. Fatal Push is live to answer one of my creatures. Opponent did not shuffle. Right, that is Fatal Push. The opponent can send both in to take the initiative, which I am fine with. I will let them take it, and then I will take it back with my skeleton attack. My opponent has already played their land drop, so they don't get to stop me from taking the initiative. Oh, I'm going to take the initiative twice this turn. Hot! Send in for 4. Initiative trigger. Fury off Throne of the Dead 3 would be cool. Negative. Caves or Seasoned Dungeoneer. Probably Seasoned Dungeoneer. It gets in better through Baleful Strix type creatures. And this is temporarily hexproof as well. We'll get my basic forest with this. Use that to throw down the Undermountain Adventurer. And that's good enough for my opponent to concede there. The green for endurance in this matchup feels like a little bit of a stretch. I might play something like 2 Magus or 2 Archon or 2 Solitude or some combination thereof. I think it's too likely that my opponent gets a basic with the initiative for Magus of the Moon to be stellar. But I do have 4 red pitch cards. Magus sometimes shuts off my caverns. Maybe I want to respect Tamiyo slightly more on the draw. This is probably not keepable. The Once Upon a Time very specifically needs to hit a soul land, and even then, if I put this on Dragon, I am essentially all in on 2 Clarion Conquerors soloing the game. I think a Wasteland beats me, or a Counterspell on Once Upon a Time also beats me. I'll mulligan this one. Just try to find something with some mana. Not great. I can keep something that looks like this and have a pitch card for an initial Tameo. Do I stop being picky on 6, or do I go to 5? Or I could just not keep the pitch card for Tameo specifically and just hope that drawing mana lets me cast more of these spells. Very reluctant keep. I'm not happy. I also don't want to mulligan into Oblivion, though. Will I get punished for throwing away the Solitude by my opponent playing turn 1 Tameo? I will not. This is fine. I am, I think, resilient versus a Thoughtseize. If my opponent just takes a Spirit Guide, I can wait that out, and I am not getting dazed right now. Opponent takes Caves. Oh shit. YOLO? Fatal Push is not going to kill this. My opponent won't have Revolt. Daze is not live. Blue cantrips are not live. YOLO! Here we go. It's in play. I'll take it as a personal insult if they just play Basic Island from hand. It is another Thoughtseize. Alright. Fuck. How is opponent that good at Magic? Frankly unfair. I think I am very likely to lose this game from here. Even the Magus of the Moon attack becomes very awkward into Orcish Bowmasters. I think I just don't do it. I'm going to play out a Lotus Petal, and then I think chill. I'm playing out Lotus Petal because I want this mana in play. I don't want that mana Thoughtseized. It is Petty Theft instead. Now, opponent has a turn to potentially fetch another land. I think I cast nothing here. My opponent does not have a threat in play yet. I'm going to start taking 3 unless I pitch cast Solitude here. Surveil time. Opponent likes their card and plays the Brazen Borrower. I am going to reluctantly Solitude it, I think. I could trade for it with just Clarion Conqueror in a minute. That might involve taking 6 or more damage. I think I'm willing to give up a couple of cards here to just not take that. The issue in removing it is that something like a Goyf can come down, and that is objectively much scarier. Looks like it's Murktide Regent. It's not going to be particularly big, but it's a 5/5 on an empty board. That's not great. I will just pass here. I don't think I give up Lotus Petal to cast Once Upon a Time looking for a land and opening myself up to Daze 15. Oof. Yeah, it's small right now, but it's going to become bigger. So my plan for Murktide is play Broadside. Broadside lives, and I throw Magus of the Moon at it. The Goyf is problematic in that plan. I think I have to play this turn. It does grow that. I'm going to go for the attack. I feel very threatened here. I'm going to try to get my points of damage in. Bowmasters is problematic, though. No Bowmasters. Opponent is at 13. But they are effectively at 15, maybe more if they did a pre-combat cantrip of some kind. Okay, yeah. I don't know why this is happening at instant speed, though. This could have happened at sorcery speed to potentially ponder afterwards to make me take even more damage here. Oh, Wasteland is brutal. I think I have no outs to win the game after getting Wastelanded. That Goyf is a 6/7. Seems good. I will concede there. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay, my opening hand does not have a lot of mana here. I have double Soul Land, but that is colorless. If this finds me a Spirit Guide or something, I'm still not to these cards. I think I ship this one. The second hand is a YOLO Magus of the Moon on the play hand, which I don't love, but I believe that I am keeping it. And I will throw away one Broadside here. Opponent says hello to YouTube. I don't remember if I said that already. Once upon a time, revealing that my opponent is not playing counterspells, based on how quickly that resolved. I think I just take an extra land here. I think I'm going to go City, Magus off Simian Spirit Guide, and I'm going to put Lotus Petal into play so it can't be thought seized. This ensures that I have colored mana of the non-red variety for other things that I draw. Yeah, it's a mountain. That's also a mountain. It goes both ways. Am I fine giving up Lotus Petal? I think I'm fine giving up Lotus Petal. Alright, Broadside is in there. This is 4 damage per turn until I turn the corner on the game and Magus of the Moon becomes Lava Axe. Opponent's at 16. That is also a mountain. That is a gamble. Discarding a Mox Opal. So our opponent is probably storming over there. If we knew that, the Archon that we bottomed with Once Upon a Time would be better. So this is going to get an Echo of Eons that my opponent can discard using Lion's Eye Diamond. So this is going to be a fresh 7 for both of us. I don't have white mana as of right now. Deal like 10 to my opponent next turn. Lotus Petal would be insane as a draw for me from here. Broadside would also be insane as a draw, right? I would get to attack for 6 and then fling for another 10, which would be lethal. My opponent's going slowly here, which is hopefully good news for me, but they're still playing spells, which is bad news for me. That is a Thoughtseize. If my opponent's not winning immediately, they probably have to take Archon of Emeria. They are winning immediately, they probably take Elvish Spirit Guide. Alright, so I attack for 4 and fling for 6. That is not lethal. Alright. Ancient Tomb, Caves of Chaos Adventurer, take the initiative, get the basic planes, go to Punchies, swing for 4, put my opponent to 10, throw Caves of Chaos Adventurer at their face, pass. I have lethal next turn, either through combat or by initiative trigger plus playing an initiative card. We'll see if my opponent can kill me. Alright, here we go. There's a Dark Ritual from my opponent into a Burning Wish or Beseech the Mirror. Storm count's pretty low. Oh, but my opponent can sack both petals first before Gaia's Will resolves. Okay, that's not what's happening immediately. It is instead another Beseech the Mirror. Now is it Gaia's Will? Nope, it's another Beseech the Mirror. Now is it Gaia's Will? So now it's Gaia's Will. Petal, Petal, Opal, Dark Ritual. Seems deterministic from here. So Storm is 10 once all of the artifact mana is played out. Opponent knows that I don't have anything relevant, so they Beseech, sacrificing an artifact. And there is the lethal Tendrils. We had a turn 4, opponent had a turn 3. The YOLO Magus technically did some stuff, but doesn't matter too much versus a pile of artifact mana. Clarion Conqueror is insane versus this deck, as is Collector Oof. So both of those are going to be coming in. Endurance technically does some stuff. Magus of the Moon technically does some stuff. As a starting point, I am boarding out my Solitudes. Those are my worst creatures here. I don't need Touch the Spirit Realm in this matchup. I think I have enough other small creatures that I don't need to try and rely on Magus of the Moon. I think it makes my mana more awkward than not. I think we won't do that. I'll fill the deck with 1 Endurance, and I might just play 1 more over 1 random Broadside or 4 mana initiative card. Free interaction is reasonable because my opponent will often wheel us. So even if the free interaction is not crazy good, it's still fine. I think I will go down 1 Seasoned Dungeoneer and keep the Broadsides just because they increase the clock so much. So this is Ancient Tomb, Spirit Guide, Undermountain Adventurer on turn 1. Not castable Endurance on turn 2. I would keep this on a lower hand count, but given that I have a bunch of incredibly powerful hate bears in this deck, I think I just mulligan that. There is a very good chance that this is turn 1 Archon of Emeria. I can find any soul land or a spirit guide to do that. This is fine. I'll throw back one of the Once Upon a Times. Opponent very quickly going to 5 cards. So let's Once Upon a Time. There is a soul land. It's not the soul land that I want, but it's a soul land. So we'll take it. So I will Lotus Petal, City of Traders, and Archon of Emeria on turn 1. This is going to make it hard to bridge to Caves of Chaos Adventurer, and might mean that I just have to give up this City of Traders. Hopefully we just like follow up with a hot Clarion Conqueror right off the top. Or honestly, a Spirit Guide is really good. Tapped Scalding Tarn. Better lucky than good, right? 2 damage in combat from Archon. City, Cavern of Souls on Human. Like some blue mana just to be spicy. Play Simian Spirit Guide. I'm going to pick up single red for Broadside here. I've already made my land drop, so I'll call it a turn there. This is now a lot of pressure. That's my opponent's 1 spell for turn through Archon, unfortunately for them. So we're going to go to Forge. I'll target the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Spirit Guide's actually totally fine as a draw, because there's a decent chance that I hit another playable off of Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Opponent is at 9. 5 from Trap plus 4 from 2/2/2 creatures is already lethal next turn. I think that means that I just straight up, unironically, cast a Simian Spirit Guide. Opponent fetches. And that land is going to enter tapped. Because Archon. Song of Creation directly to the graveyard there. Powerful card, but not while Archon exists. So I have lethal in play, even if my opponent removes one of my creatures. So we're going to go to another game. There's very much the fear of getting turn 1'd when my opponent is on the play. But I'm already kind of doing everything that I can do about that. This is a very awkward hand. So this is turn 1 Clarion Conqueror if I do not eat a Thoughtseize. However, if I eat a Thoughtseize effect and my opponent takes Lotus Petal, the entire hand falls apart. So this is very weird. I think I am going to keep it because I can still hit like a Cavern of Souls or a White Land or a Spirit Guide or a Once Upon a Time to round out the hand if Lotus Petal is taken by Thoughtseize. Or for that matter, Caves of Chaos Adventurer as a draw is totally fine because I can do that off of Ancient Tomb and double Spirit Guide. Or if opponent misplays and takes Clarion Conqueror instead, then I just deploy a turn 1 Seasoned Dungeoneer or Undermountain Adventurer. Oh my gosh, my opponent is on 4 cards. That is not what they want to see. But at this point, they're basically on LED echo lines of like things that are reasonable. Yep, they're going for it, I think. All right, they've kept on 3. Lion's Eye Diamond. Undercity Sewers. Last card, Echo. Oh, last card is not Echo. Uh-oh. Oh, Endurance too. Nice. So, Lotus Petal. Ancient Tomb. Clarion Conqueror. That shuts off so much of my opponent's deck here. So all the LEDs, Lotus Petals, stuff of that nature is now off the table. Hello, Lotus Petal. Opponent probably choosing to play that out in respect of an Archon potentially coming down as a follow-up. Well, my hand is certainly a thing here. The opponent's at 17. I have a pitch green card. Don't have anything I can cast with just red and colorless mana here. These still do work through Clarion Conqueror. It affects the stuff that's in play. I'll pass the turn here. It looks like opponent is going to pass right back. Green Spirit Guide is fantastic here. So I will send in for 3, bringing my opponent to 14. This does mean that I am dropping Endurance. I think that's fine. We're going to use this to get Basic Plains. I will play Basic Plains as my land drop per turn, and then next turn I can play a second Clarion Conqueror, so any sort of like Fatal Push or Bounce type card does not just answer this and allow my opponent to go off anymore. Fantastic. We will Forge, put the counters on the Vigilance creature, which cannot be activated for mana as of right now, just FYI. So this is 8 damage, plus 5 is 13. That's not lethal. Seasoned Dungeoneer could be lethal, depending on how the Explore goes. I think I would rather just play a second Clarion Conqueror than risk the roughly 50-50 there. The opponent is at 6. Second Clarion Conqueror. Opponent now has to go off from 4 cards without using artifact mana, and with no real hope of removing both of those at the same time. We have gotten the GGs from our opponent there. We will trap, bring our opponent to 1, drop a land, go to punchies, and punchies so hard here. We put the win on the board versus Storm. Opponent mulliganed pretty deeply there. They stopped at 3 and kept LED, Undercity, Sewers, and 1 other card. I don't know the math on how likely you are to see Lion's Eye Diamond and Echo in the same hand. They could mulligan one more time in an attempt to put those together. Maybe the last card they kept is something like Gamble, where it is potentially a copy of... No. Yeah, they could have had Gamble and then, like, not the red mana to use it because I shut off Lotus Petal. Without knowing their hand, I don't think I can say whether or not it was correct to try to mulligan to 2 to just spike LED plus Echo specifically. Anyways, GG's. Weird opening hand here. So I could keep this and turn 2 an Archon of Emeria, but then not play any of the cards in my hand, or I can keep this and try to turn 3 and turn 4 copies of Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I don't think I keep this on a 7, with like no manipulation to find a Spirit Guide to accelerate this all out one turn. This hand's a little YOLO for my liking. I don't like these YOLO Magus hands, but I think I sure am keeping it. I think I'm going to keep both copies of Magus, Dunk Solitude, lead on Cavern on Human, pass, and if it doesn't look like Magus of the Moon is going to be good and I draw mana acceleration, I can just play Seasoned Dungeoneer to find a basic before I send out Magus of the Moon. Okay, that's fine. We can trade evenly there. Bobble, so this is probably a Delver deck. Opponent gets their redraw off Bobble immediately. That is not what I am looking for right now. Opponent has another Wasteland, no immediate mana sources. I'm not Dazable here, so let it rip. Opponent could Wasteland me with this on the stack. They chose not to. Now means Wasteland is fully offline. It is a Lightning Bolt instead. This is maybe... Is it Delver with Corey Steelcutter? Seems like opponent is thinking about whether or not they are wastelanding me. And they are. And then they just throw down a Volcanic Island and pass. I need more mana. I have 0 playable cards. This is just a brainstorm for pure efficiency here. Basic Island naturally in hand. There is the Corey Steelcutter and a Bobble to trigger it. So this is going to be bad pretty quickly. I think I need running mana sources. Archon, obviously, very good versus Corey Steelcutter. 6 uncastable cards, less good versus Corey Steelcutter. And I said it previously, I don't like the Magus YOLO hands. I will keep them when the deck presents them, and like I've already mulliganed once or I'm on the play, but they lose a lot. Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon and Chalice of the Void and all those sorts of cards have gotten so much worse over the years. Ponder is going to create another Monk, and opponent's got a land drop afterwards. 5 cards remaining in hand. I think there is a very good chance that I am dead here. And having missed on that land drop, I am now comfortable conceding the game. All we did was cast a Magus of the Moon. We got a clunker. My white cards conceptually seem quite good here. Archon of Emeria stops my opponent from scaling Corey Steelcutter. Clarion Conqueror is a 3/3 to trade with opposing 3/3, or roughly that power level flyers. I think I am trending in the direction of white removal in respect of Murktide Regent here. I'm going to take Magus of the Moon out of the deck, I think. Oh, Endurance is also probably reasonable. I guess that's assuming that I can cast it, which is, I think, not a very safe assumption. A lot of times, when I have the option to board up to 4 Endurance versus Delver, I do it in a heartbeat. I don't think that's correct here, and I might even take out my copies of Endurance. It's so hard to cast. It requires my basic forest and then one of Cavern or Lotus Petal. I don't think I'm in love with that. What about Fury? What about Touch the Spirit Realm? Touch the Spirit Realm is slow, but it is a way to answer Corey Steelcutter 1-for-1. Well, pretty close to 1-for-1 anyway. Am I happy with the one that I have and I want to stop there? Sure. I can also see going down Caves of Chaos Adventure because it dies to Lightning Bolt. But I have a bunch of white cards that are already going to die to Lightning Bolt. Is this enough mana? Feels very easy to just die here. It's so easy to just lose to a Wasteland here. Like, the best case scenario is Once Upon a Time hits Ancient Tomb. And then I play Cavern this turn. Ancient Tomb Spirit Guide out a Seasoned Dungeoneer next turn. And this Archon is dead for a little while. I think I will mulligan. I would keep something like this on a 5. Rip. This is now my 5-card hand. And I just don't have functional mana. We are now going to 4. We are completely in YOLO territory. Alright. Battle, City of Traders. Maybe Archon. Cast Once Upon a Time to try to get a mana source before all that happens. Hate it. That is not good. Asked for free. Do I want to slow my roll for a turn to have Forest in play prior to playing City of Traders? No, but I'm going to do it. Opponent's got Scalding Tarn. I'm very afraid of a lot of plays here. Tamiyo is insane. Dragon's Rage Channeler is insane. Even a Delver is not too bad. That's about the best thing that could have happened here. Broadside is a fine creature that I can't cast right now. I will go in on Archon this turn, even if it potentially means that I lose City of Traders a little bit later. This, unfortunately, is a lightning boltable creature, which super matters after a mulligan to 5. I do get forced rather than just cleanly traded with via a lightning bolt. Opponent either had a Tamiyo and did not play it, or drew a Tamiyo off of Ponder. Alright, there's DRC. Wasteland is a disaster. And now we're going to just super feel the results of mulliganing into Oblivion. Our 3-color Naya Ancient Tomb City of Traders deck is a bit ambitious in the mana department. So a bunch of these opening hands are not working super well. Yeah, that's bad. Unholy Heat to graveyard, no immediate monk token, that's nice. But I am not playing Magic the Gathering. This is another one of those hands where I just cast one threat and then had no ability to follow up. Our deck, in theory, is trying to throw Haymaker after Haymaker after Haymaker, and when we only throw one Haymaker, the deck falls apart. So this second Preordain is going to mean that Corey Steelcutter creates a creature. There are still only 3 card types in graveyard. I know I have said it a few times, but that also isn't good. Alright, I mean, there's some mana. But I think if my opponent just rattles through spells this turn and hits me for, 9 damage, there's no coming back from this. So that means that DRC is a guaranteed 3/3 this turn once that's cracked. Volcanic Island, 2 cards left. Is there another spell? Seems like it's Murktide Regent. That triggers Corey Steelcutter. My opponent lose out on damage by doing that, or was that neutral? Alright, I'm at 11. I don't think it matters. So I can play Cavern, play a 3-drop, take a minimum of 8 damage, like block this, take 2, so it's really taking 10. Any spell kills me from there. And there's still the Murktide problem. Yeah, I am comfortable tapping out there. We did not play Magic that round. Not really. GG's. Alright, I am on the draw. I have Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Spirit Guide for 4 mana for one of these, and have the flexibility to kind of change my plans as need be. I think I am comfortable keeping this. Opponent is also a Once Upon a Time deck, finding Yavimaya, so this is probably a lands or depths deck of some kind. Yep. There's a Malevolent Rumble. With an Urza Saga potentially coming here. We'll see. Opponent could also just take Exploration depending on what is in their hand. Yeah, they are going to take the Exploration. That is just a very generically powerful deck. Or sorry, card. So I'm always doing this. I'm always doing this, and then it gets more interesting from there. Magus is what stops me from dying to Dark Depths very quickly. How much does this Eldrazi spawn matter? Do I Solitude it? Not cutting my opponent off of colors. I'm going to go ahead and Solitude that. And with a green Spirit Guide in hand, I think I am comfortable doing this. The Magus of the Moon stuff is very awkward versus Dark Depths, as if my opponent removes the Magus, I end up giving my opponent an easier way to create their 2020. This is going to keep me from losing to Dark Depths and Urza's Saga in a lot of cases, which are going to be my opponent's 2 primary win conditions. And now it matters what outs they have to Magus in the main deck. Sometimes these decks have white mana to throw out something like a Swords to Plowshares in game 1. But this is also stopping Wastelands, Utility Lands, Tabernacles, you name it. It is a Malevolent Rumble. Opponent gets the boots and plays the boots. Endurance is not immediately relevant. I'll dome my opponent for 2 and pass. And like, this is why I don't like the Magus of the Moon openers here. I have decreased my own mana production, although admittedly in this exact case it doesn't change whether or not I can cast a spell this specific turn. The boots are on. I will take a mighty 1 damage. 17. My opponent is winning based on the scoreboard. Yeah, I don't get Bosejude since I am a Magus of the Moon and not a Blood Moon. I have 3 mana this turn, but not green or not white. So this is a turn where the Magus of the Moon has kept me from playing Undermountain Adventurer actively. I'll pass here. Hey, my opponent's Bojuka Bog comes in untapped. You may absolutely Exploration. I don't imagine you have too many lands left. I'll take 1. 16. Alright, there's a Lotus Petal. That's great. Send in for 2. Opponent's at 14. I think I play my initiative creature this turn because it means that I can then potentially play another creature next turn. I'll take white mana here. Drop that into play and pass. This gives me green, so I can already hardcast Endurance with this. Alright, my opponent concedes this one. Magus soloed the game, although it was definitely probably dicier than it looks. So now I have to decide whether or not I want to keep playing the Magus of the Moon game or whether or not I want to board out. In the post-sideboard games, there can be things like Twin Shot Sniper that just eat Magus of the Moon. I like the bonus Touch the Spirit Realms here. That is a good way to get rid of Merit Lage. I like the bonus Endurances here. Magus is the best way for me to not get eaten alive by Urza Saga Construct tokens, but hopefully I'm just faster than that with initiative creatures. If I don't play Magus and I board in these, what are the remaining 2 cuts? Broadside is really good at finishing through something like Maze of Ith. Caves is good against Maze of Ith. Could be Undermountain Adventurer. Could also get a little greedy with mana and go down 2 Once Upon a Time. I kind of like the cards that are in my deck currently. It will go down 2 Once Upon a Time. That does not cast any permanent spells. Got a couple pitch spells though. We got that going for us. Second hand has a turn 1 Undermountain Adventurer. I think I keep this. Can I get rid of Cavern here? This just gets me a basic Plains anyway. And I have 3 mana on turn 2, which I could use to... Well, no, I can just cast this, right? Post combat? Yeah, I can get rid of Cavern here. This hand is kind of out of line. Boseju and pass. Ooh. Spirit Guide. Take the initiative. Basic Plains to hand and pass the turn. Crop rotation? Dismember. Sure. I still get to play Seasoned Dungeoneer on my own turn. Opponent has Exploration and passes. Do I want to go left with no targets? Because Trap is so good. I think I do. Nice. Bam. I guess I Caves here. Caves is just more damage, and I can cast Seasoned Dungeoneer with any land as a follow-up. I will now Trap. Bring my opponent to 11. I am very suspicious that they actually have lands and we're like holding them or something. It would be very strange for my opponent to have 5 cards in hand and no lands. Well, I guess I'm wrong. How much did they mulligan? They began with 7 cards in hand and kept a hand that only cast Dismember? Were they that afraid of Magus of the Moon? Huh, I don't know what else is in that hand. GG's. This is a Magic the Gathering hand. So I have 3 mana on turn 1, but because it is a green spirit guide, I don't actually do anything on turn 1. I vaguely recognize my opponent's username. I feel like they are a dedicated combo player like Storm or something like that. Given that I don't really like Magus of the Moon hands anyway, I think I'm just going to ship this one. This is turn 1 Seasoned Dungeoneer, and maybe Once Upon a Time changes what I do. Yeah. Do I called shot Archon? I'm going to take Archon. It is the best card there. I think I'm going to called shot Archon. I think the best play in the dark, if I don't suspect anything about my opponent, is to play Seasoned Dungeoneer because it sets me up for the turn 2 Archon. But I really think my opponent plays Storm. After Verdant Catacombs, I will send in for 2. I don't think I'm going to play this land. Apt Bayou and pass. We are starting to get into the do I use a spirit guide to hardcast a spirit guide situation. 16. I think I'm going to do it with 3 spirit guides now there. Opponent to 15. Mortuary is a Bowmasters, so it is not Storm. In which case, just jamming my Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 1 probably would have been better. Okay, so it is combo. That's Hogak. Ooh, phase out my Archon. Alright. There's a Scythe Cat Cub. Double Spirit Guide, no ability to cast my cards. Lol, 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 lol. Naya Mana Base, going wild. Alright, 11. That is a tapped Dryad Arbor. Counters on Scythe Cat Cub. Stitcher's Supplier, excellent blocker versus Simian Spirit Guide. No Hogaks or anything crazy coming in there. An opponent is going to hit me with Scythe Cat Cub. 15. Alright, that's totally reasonable. So, Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, Wizard, I'm none of those things. I don't think I want to attack with that. Oh no, the Lotus Petal means that I can't play Seasoned Dungeoneer immediately. What a disaster. Send in for 2 in the air. 9. Petal. Can't do it. Doom door noises intensify. The opponent breaks parity and casts 2 spells in a turn cycle because of Flash. I am at 14. That is a fetch land, which is getting less value than normal from Scythe Cat Cub. Just Scythe Cat Cub coming in. It tramples. I will take 4, going to 10. Seems like it's Hogak. It is Hogak. Solitude off the top, please. Convoke, Delve, Trample is the important keyword there. So I can play out an extra body. I have 3 different blockers. Put 4 in front of Hogak, like 3 in front of Scythe Cat Cub. Yeah, I think opponents got it here. I lose this one because I did not go for Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 1. I'm looking up my opponent's username. I swear they play Storm. Okay, it is some Storm and was Storm recently, but there's also a bunch of landfall type stuff in there. I don't think I'm interested in Magus of the Moon here. Touch the Spirit Realm is okay for Hogak. Endurance is okay, but the Endurances are very awkward since I can't really hard cast them. That might mean that I'm more interested in the Exile-based white removal and a couple of Furies that can just take out small blockers. Archon of Emeria slows my opponent down, but I don't know how interested I am in it. Might just be more important to clear out things like Scythe Cat Cub and Hogak. I also think I can just, like, blitz my opponent down a decent portion of the time. This is 2 mana on turn 1, 3 mana on turn 2, maybe 4 mana on turn 2. Assuming I hit any Spirit Guide in Once Upon a Time plus a draw step. That's fine. Human on Cavernous Souls hits all 3 of these. I'm okay casting this now. How is City? Cavern on 1, City on 2. That's fine. Human. Wasteland is really annoying because I have green sources here. Human. Never didn't have it. Never didn't have it on the other side, though. Yep. Never didn't have it the 3rd time. Alright. I was going to say, if it happened yet again, we were living in a wild-ass timeline. So there is a very good chance that I lose the Spirit Guide here. I did lose the Spirit Guide, but I redrew one, luckily for me. So I am playing City of Traders. I'm going to play the one that doesn't get ambushed by Orcish Bowmasters, I think. So, Spirit Guide, pick up the mountain here, and pass the turn. I guess neither one of them gets ambushed by Spirit Guide, but this one gets through Stitcher's Supplier. Or sorry, ambushed by Bowmasters because of Forge specifically. Alright, cool. Oh, they've got the Gak. That's turn 4. I guess that's to be expected. I think we're forging. Oh, I don't have true white mana for that. That's so tragic. Alright, send it. Elvish Spirit Guide. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana this turn, and then 1, 2, 3. That's 4 mana for next turn. I will leave that on top then. The opponent's at 10. Then I will go 2 mana, make land drop, make uncounterable, trap my opponent, putting my opponent to 5. And then I am presumably going to have lethal with Seasoned Dungeoneer next turn. And if that doesn't work, I will hopefully still be able to hit my opponent, get into Archives, and then play Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That is trample, so I am not blocking. 11 plus a change of hands of initiative. Forest from deck into play. So Seasoned Dungeoneer is lethal on its own. The opponent presumably has to answer that, and then also do something about this. So Seasoned Dungeoneer trigger on Seasoned Dungeoneer. Caves of Chaos Adventurer trigger as well, revealing Once Upon a Time. Solitude on top, which I am about to draw. I will not put that into my graveyard. Alright, this is theoretically lethal. Ooh, it is Talon Gates from hand into play to phase out Seasoned Dungeoneer. So I will deal 4 damage to my opponent, putting them to 1. My opponent will mill some cards. I take the initiative. I go to Archives. I draw Solitude. I play Forest. I'm going to go 4 for Caves of Chaos Adventurer now. I will take the initiative, which will bring me into Throne of the Dead 3. Fury, killing, ignoble. Okay, they're just not going to think about it. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent tried their hardest there. This boarding configuration feels fine. Opening hand is a little awkward in terms of mana. I think that's just kind of the norm. I think I will just keep this. I think it gets improved enough different ways that I'm just going to keep it rather than mulligan into oblivion. Opponent finds a swamp and passes the turn, so I can wait to cast Once Upon a Time until my own turn. I will go ahead and cast it now. Cavernous Souls, Elvish Spirit Guide. I think I will take Cavern in case my opponent wastelands. I might play Ancient Tomb first. I am potentially interested in Broadside, Attack, Fury, Fling Fury at face. Alright. Got punished for not playing out Cavernous Souls. I was trying to keep flexibility in which one of these I cast, and will continue to do so. Alright, we did not have a strange repeat of the last game. White of the Reliquary. Currently just a 2-2. Ooh, baby. We feeling pirate or goblin? I'm feeling piratey. Red mana. Get in there. Go to punchies. Oh, Snuff Out is incredible. Yeah, absolutely. I think I will pass the turn there and attempt to do the broadside thing next turn. Malevolent Rumble. Opponent chooses no cards? What? Cabal Therapy, Once Upon a Time, Snuff Out, Abrupt Decay. Oh, okay, not that swamp. I see. In any timeline, is Caves of Chaos Adventurer better here? Opponent can sacrifice the Eldrazi spawn to phase out my creature and take the initiative, but then I just take it back. And if I just Fury this, they can protect it all the same. Alright, let's go human. And go Caves and start the initiative sub-game. Then get cute next turn. I take white. I'm definitely not hardcasting the Fury anyway. Alright, I'm good with that. So there's the sacrifice. It is a Surveil land. We've got a cat. And a fetch land. Alright, they are going on Scythecat Cub. It does have trample, meaning that this is now a 4-4. Hierarch is fine. Stitcher's Supplier is potentially scary. Still a 3-3. Can become a 4-4. We've got Cabal Therapy. Now a 6/6 due to the Stitcher Supplier hits. Opponent says Solitude. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Oh, damn, and there was a Hogak in there. Opponent gets to send in for half of my life total. Hogak is an 8/8. Throwing at it for 6 is not enough. I'm in trouble. I'm going to give my opponent the initiative. I think they've got this one. The Malevolent Rumble Eldrazi spawn token really messed with my ability to do cool things with Fury. So there's just an 8/8. And my opponent's stuff is protected via Talon Gates right now, too. So I think I am going to pitch cast a Fury, attempt to take out Scythecat Cub, and see if my opponent bites on saving it by sacrificing Ignoble Hierarch to white. They don't bite, which is unfortunate. Now the next thing that I am going to do is play a broadside. We're going to go to punchies. We're going to send in. Oh, we're not going to send in. Okay. I need the top card to be Solitude. Otherwise, this Trampoline friend kills me, I think. Send it. Holy shit, it's Solitude. I will cast that by exiling a white card from my hand. I mean, that's what I played towards. Junk Hogak. We'll take this as an opportunity to forever mute my opponent for being salty in chat. I will now go ahead and... This is a problem. I chump block this. Let's Lost Well and maybe find an answer to this. Those are not what I am looking for. I'm going to assume that I need better than just a chump blocker. I'll pass the turn there. Oh, fuck. I'm still phased out until my next turn. So that still gets me. What were you fucking salting off about then? That'll do. GG's. Alright. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Not great. I didn't like this one. I think the mana is already bad trying to play a Naya version of this, and your Magus of the Moons compound that, and your Archon of Amerias make it so that your Lotus Petals don't necessarily allow you to cast some things, especially your Seasoned Dungeoneers, which aren't castable off of these cards. This didn't feel very smooth. We saw our blue opponents having flash creatures like Orcish Bowmasters that make holding onto the initiative much harder. Conceptually, I don't like the initiative in Legacy right now, but it was a fun way to spend a couple of hours and record a league real quick, so I don't regret giving it a try. If I was going to play another league with this, I think I would cut Endurance and Magus of the Moon from the main deck. Endurance was really awkward as being very hard on the mana. It is real cool when you line it up versus like Reanimator specifically, which is a huge portion of the format, to be fair. But since you can't hard cast it reasonably in this deck, I think hedging that hard in game one doesn't really make sense. Maybe you could play like 2 Minsk and Boo as just other aggressive cards to play. The red-green initiative version specifically gets to do that. The mana is more stable for it. With Cavernous Souls being one of your primary colored sources here, I don't know that you get away with that here. Maybe you can do something like Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Again, Cavernous Souls makes that not great. Maybe you can just play more land. Maybe you can play a couple of MDFCs to work with the pitch cards. Maybe you can play another Solitude or a Fury main deck or something. I think there's room for some tuning here. I don't think the list is bad, but I don't know that the positioning of Legacy makes me excited to play with initiative creatures. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!